Hi, welcome to Crafted Sweetly. I'm Diana. Thanks so much for being here. In this video, as you can see, I have two books, two identical books here, and then two patterns. Both patterns are the same thing. My goal with this video is to see if there's any kind of difference. I know there's been some debate whether you should fold the strips just with your hand and press them, or if you should fold the strip and then use a bone folder. So I thought, well, I'll settle the debate about it, or kind of see what the outcome is based on one fold and then the other fold. So these books are fairly thin. It's about 200 pages for the book, shorter book. But in addition to that, I'm using, because of the pattern that I chose, and you'll see why I chose this book so thin. And in addition to that, I'm actually not even using the entire book. I'm taking some at the beginning and some at the end that I will turn into a decorative border. And I have a link in the description box on how to achieve the decorative border that you'll see in the finished design. So I won't go through that because, like I said, I do have a video for that. I'll just execute this part. And then I have my two patterns here. So the pattern is like 182 pages, basically. That's all it is to this pattern. And then same with the second one, obviously, because I'm trying to compare and see what the difference is. And as usual, I will cut these. I'm using the Caterpillar Pro to cut the strips, and I will cut right along the top of the line here. And what's helpful with the Caterpillar is that it does have a light right here, so it's easy for me to line up the strip exactly where I'm cutting it, to take this off in one shot, and then take these off. Okay, and this, as long as you remember, you can write on the back if that helps, just so you don't lose, in case things get knocked over. You can write on the back of these what the strips are. You could technically write on the front here as well, so I can do it on the side because this is not visible right here. The only part that's going to be visible is the center of this strip. So I will write it on the front here. It'll be easier so it doesn't get confusing. And just very small numbers. I'm writing them above because I'm going to trim this off in one shot. So I'll just take this off now that I've numbered them. Right there. So now I have my strips, and I'll just cut all these in one shot. And I do love that light because it's so easy to line up the line exactly where I'm cutting it. If you have not used a Caterpillar Pro or the Caterpillar Crop, they have a smaller version of this. It's an amazing paper trimmer. I've had this one for, I think, about 2 years now. It's still the original blade on it. So I don't know how many Fiskars blades and other stuff I've gone through using the previous ones. So this is my 1 through 19 on one of the books, and I'll kind of keep it together with this book. So what I'll do is I can mark this book as the, let's say, bone folder one, and then I'll do the other one as just the hand. Okay, I'll cut the second one here, same process as the first sheet. So now I have, this is the bone folder book, and then this is the finger press book. Same designs. So now that I've cut these strips, I will move this out of the way. So I'll start off with the bone folder book first. And if you need to score the strips first, I have a video on how to do that as well, where I use the caterpillar crease, which looks like this. It's transparent, and I use this in conjunction with the glow board or some kind of a light board. I'm using the caterpillar one, but you can use any back kind of light to it. And then you can score these strips before you cut them. If you don't need to do that, then obviously you just cut them. And at this point, it's using a bone folder. So I usually take, 2 or 3 strips and make sure they're lined up. And then I gently fold in half right down the middle, like this. And initially I do it gently because I want to make sure that, I'm going straight in a line. And then you can separate these. So again, for this one, I'm using a bone folder because I want to see the difference between one and the other. I've done a lot of videos showing you should use a bone folder. I don't necessarily always use one, so this is a perfect thing to see side by side. So now I'm using the bone folder to press, and you can see it's a nice straight edge on here. Okay, I have 3 strips. We'll just stick with these 3 for starting purposes. Before I confuse these, let's see, I'll put this here. And I have my 3 strips. 1, 2, 3. Yep, 1, 2, and 3. And I'm starting on this page. Now I'll go back and actually fold that decorative edge before I continue. But in order to do this, I'm just the usual, I'm adding the tape at the top and the bottom. And I do like now to do the invisible tops, so I will do the invisible, I'll trim this off to create an invisible top. Again, I have a video on this as well, so that's more in-depth than what I'm doing right now. So I won't spend time on that part. 1, 3, 5. Okay, so I added, this can go away because I now know I'm starting here. And the only reason I did that is just so I know exactly what I'm starting with the strips. And applied. Okay, so I will do that for all of these. And then I'm repeating the same process with the other book. But instead of using the bone folder, I'm just going to use my fingers for it. So let me add these. So I've done 3 strips here. I will take this book out, and these strips go with the bone folder method. Set this off to the side. And then I will do this with the finger pressing method. Same thing, if you've already scored these, it'll make it a little easier to fold them in half. Not totally necessary, but if you have a hard time folding these in half evenly, then scoring them prior to folding does help. So now I'll take these off, and now at this point I'm just using my fingers to kind of run my finger right along the top. So instead of using a folder to press, now this is a little more rounded. Okay, so I'll do one more here. I thought I had 3. Okay, so these are my finger press strips. Okay, so now I'm gonna add this one, and I have to check what page I started here, so I'm starting on the same page. It's page 11. All right. Page 11. And I added the post-it note on the cover just so I don't get confused. And then we can see at the end if there's any difference between the two methods of pressing these strips down. So I have the strips down and they're applied. Now this I'm going to turn into a decorative border, and then what I'll do is I'm going to continue these books probably about halfway through, as in my usual videos. We'll see how things turn out with one method versus the other. So I'll check back in once I get some more pages done. The book with the folding using the bone folder is completed, and I will show you what that looks like in 1 second. And then I will start on this one now. I did a couple right at the beginning of the video here, so I will do, you know, kind of finish that book. But I want to show you what the bone folder one looks like. So here is the design, first of all, but you can see with the bone folder, it is just, I mean, I absolutely love it. It's nice and crisp and clear, no issues. And as far as the ink rubbing off, there's nothing. I mean, you can see right there, I'm not sure, like maybe I don't need to zoom in, but you can see that there's no cracking of the ink, no fading of it, or, you know, like the ink coming off as you're folding it. So I am super pleased using the bone folder. Sometimes I do the bone folder, sometimes I don't. So this was a great video kind of to figure out which method should I continue going forward. And that doesn't mean that, you know, if one technique is better than the other, if it may work better for you versus, you know, if I say that this is better, the bone folder better than using the gentle folding with your fingers, if it already works for you using just a gentle fold, then obviously go for it. But I just wanted to kind of compare and contrast the same design, same book, same everything, using a bone folder, and then we'll see what it looks like just using my fingers to press the strips. So the front, I just did the fold like this, and I have a video linked in the description box to show you how this is done. Super easy, and you can do as many points as you would like. I just did 2 because I just wanted to get 2 of them done. This was meant, the video's meant more for this part of the design. But I do love the bone folder, and I love this design. Right there. So nice and clean, no issues with it whatsoever. Okay, so I have my strips here, and then I'm just going to apply them to the book just like this one, the ones that I started. So once I finish this book, then I'll show you what this looks like, and then I'll compare the two. We can see them side by side. I've completed both methods for folding the strips now, so I want to show you the differences, compare the two. The bone folder one I already showed you. It's nice and tight. Everything's even, no cracking of the ink by using the bone folder, so all good there. Now in comparison, here is the one where I just did a gentle press with my fingers on it. Obviously no cracking here either, it's a gentle fold on it. The main difference that I see between the two is the size. So because the strips are not pressed tight, this is more of an open book. Now you can get it to the same size, close to the same size, by tying a ribbon or stabilizing it at the bottom. So adding, I have a video on that, on how to add a stabilizer at the bottom. But this is much easier to hold. It kind of stands on its own to this opening, this aperture. This one is a little more kind of loose as far as opening. It doesn't mean that this doesn't work, because it's, you know, you need to press it together. This is a little, because this image has an oval or a circle, it should actually be, you know, kind of like this. because I can't press it quite enough unless I tie a ribbon, this tends to be an oval instead of a circle like here, where I'm not really applying any pressure and it's a circle. So you may have to make pattern adjustments if you do this style of folding of the strips, because the strips won't lend themselves to keeping the book as tight as you may want to. Otherwise, you know, both work. I printed these patterns using the same printer. I'll link that below in case, you know, you're looking to get a printer. It's an inkjet printer. I did used to use a laser printer, had no issues there either. But used the same, printed the patterns at the same time, so they sat for the same amount of time before I got to them to apply to the books. But this is going to be, because again, I didn't press the strips as tight as I did with the bone folder. This is going to be more of an open book. I guess I should put it more into the frame here. But otherwise, both yielded great results. It's a matter of design that you're doing. It's a matter of preference. You know, if you want something that's fuller. Now, using the gentle fold of the strip, this is only like 200 and, how many did I have? 200 and, about 200, 186 pages, I think, is what I made the pattern for. But if this was a 500-page book, this is going to be super, it's twice as big. So maybe you want to use the bone folder method so that the book is not quite as open as it would be if you just gently press it, because this doesn't lend itself to keeping it as tight. So it does depend on the size of the book, it depends on your pattern, and of course your preference. But there's no reason why you can't use the bone folder because it's going to crack the ink or, you know, strip the ink off your pages. That's not one of the reasons you should stop using a bone folder to fold the strips. Otherwise, hope this video was helpful, you know, just to kind of have the same pattern done in the two different styles so you can see what the final design looks like. And again, this I have to keep pressing it to keep it tight. If it was a bigger book, it would be a little more challenging, and adding a ribbon around the base would help. If you have any questions, please let me know. Personally, I'll probably fluctuate between the two depending on my design. I may use a bone folder if I want something tight like this. I may just do the using my fingers to press the strips if it doesn't matter for the design and I'm fine with it being fuller. It is slightly faster doing it, just pressing it with your fingers, than picking up the bone folder for each strip and doing it. So thanks so much for watching. Again, questions, comment below. I have links in the description box for the printer, the paper that I use, questions as far as the various product tools that I use. They are linked below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you on the next project.